Hello everyone, and a warm welcome to Unique Network. Today I will walk you through the essence of what dynamic NFTs are and how you can breathe life into them with Unique Network's own wallet, leveraging its built-in capabilities to make it into a rudimentary dynamic NFT dApp, a distributed application that works with blockchain. Fun fact, this tutorial/code demo is part of our Hackadot 2023 Hackathon workshop on dynamic NFTs, but it's a resource that will remain valuable for hopefully anyone who is coming hither in the days after. Now, what is a dynamic NFT? A dynamic NFT is just that, an NFT that evolves and changes, that isn't static. In most cases, the apparent change is its appearance. Think of an NFT that could reflect the weather in the user's location or the time of day, or a warrior that grows stronger and fiercer over time and with experience. Remember, an NFT is just data, and data cannot change itself. So something else must change the representation of the NFT, either through mutating its data on-chain or changing the way that data is interpreted off-chain. Both of these cases are dynamic NFTs, and thus, what actually makes an NFT dynamic is what represents it, and possibly can change its data, a distributed application, dApp, for instance. Let's get to making one, shall we? For that we will need 1. Unique wallet, 2. Something to make a dynamic NFT with, images, we have some stored on IPFS for you, and 3. A script to mutate the NFT's appearance. The rest of the video will zoom in on a simple image composing server. The code is available on GitHub, check the description for the link. We won't be deep diving to the code as we want to keep an eye on the bigger picture. Don't be alarmed by the TypeScript code. Each file is neatly organized by functionality, so hopefully you won't get lost in the code jungle. One important functionality is the server.ts script, the center point of today's tutorial. Server.ts listens for requests and, upon such a request, composes an image from that of the requested NFT and its nested tokens. For more information about nesting, check out our other materials provided in the description. First, over in the .env file, which I've copied from example.env, I have pasted my mnemonic for an address with some tokens to pay the fees on Opal, our testing network, where we are about to perform the transactions. You too can create another test address and use our Telegram faucet bot to give you Opal tokens for whatever you need. With our preparations complete, we can now create our collection and some nested tokens with create collection and tokens.ts script. Now, this script is a bit of a handful, but it provides you with all the functionality to create your own collection and your tokens. This script mints 2 collections with a few tokens and nests all the generated tokens from one collection into the tokens from the other. This is how it looks. This is my account, and this is our new collection, reporting live from Polkadot.js apps. It's been a minute, but we have successfully created our collections and tokens and nested them on the Opal network. The collection IDs are 1340 and 1341. The creation script pointed the image property of the main NFT to the IPFS. But right now, if we pick it in the wallet and you can see this is collection 1340 and the main parent token, this is just the base image. Not very exciting, right? But what if we could transform this base image into something dynamic? With our trusty change property.ts script, we can do exactly that. I am now reassigning the metadata field that our wallet reads as the image to our image composer running on a remote server. This script is basically a property setter. Voila! This is now already a dynamic NFT. Basic nesting and combining the images of the nested tokens have taken us from bare head to a fully featured face. If we nested this token representing the beard, our face would suddenly look 10 years younger. If we nested another token representing, for example, freckles or glasses, we've got a whole new look. And remember, this representation depends entirely on the dApp. However, there is more. How about we take a step further and make our NFT image mutate with time, literally. The server script also checks for a property in the metadata called mutator. This property is a standard feature in other collections. We just declared it here as a permitted token property in the collection when we created it, so that the collection owner and the token owner could both change it on their token. We, as this tokens and the collection's owner, are free to store any data we like in here, but we have to keep in mind that the application or any other client for whom this property was intended originally can actually use its value and should expect it in the correct format. And once again, for additional info on properties, as I will not go in depth into that here, I recommend checking out our documentation. The link will be in the description. Suffice it to say that properties are a map of key-value pairs, limited in size. While it is basically a pure representation of metadata, you can store many pretty pictures in that size, but links, sure. Both tokens and the collection as a whole may have their own properties, but there are permissions in place on who can set them, and whether they are modifiable after being set, so that we, for example, could preserve the integrity of some highly priced NFT's image. Currently, our tokens are kind of like blank canvases with no mutator properties set. Let's change that. Speaking of which, what mutators exactly do we have? Let's take a closer look at our image mutation util.ts file, which our image composing server uses. It houses 3 unique mutators, each capable of adding a distinct effect to our image. One of these is called Brightner. For its mutation source, it uses time. Imagine a landscape with the sun rising and setting every minute. That's what our Brightner does. It begins every minute by casting a shadow over the image, gradually illuminating it over the course of the minute, only to reset and start the process all over again. This cycle of darkness and light breathes life into our image, making it truly dynamic. And I think our guy is in desperate need of a hairdo, so let's apply that cycle of darkness and light to his hair. Using changeProperty.ts, we can assign a mutator property to the hair token, which is number 2 in that collection, with the value of Brightner to his hair. And voila! Our guy's hair now has a life of its own. Since Unique Wallet wasn't initially built for dynamic images, we're limited to seeing the mutated static picture by continually refreshing the page. But when it comes to your dApp, the sky is the limit. You can create an animated GIF, leverage powerful graphics, or even craft something completely unique without the need for constant redraws. But why stop at a Brightner? Let's explore other mutators. Our guy has been working hard and hasn't had the time to groom his beard. Let's apply the next mutator, assign wave to his beard. Just like the ebb and flow of the tides, this mutator uses time to shrink and enlarge his beard. Do remember, you can apply these mutators to any part of the image or even the final image itself. However, altering the size of our main picture with shrinking might not yield noticeable results due to browser scaling. Now, our guy has a dynamic beard that changes size over time. But he seems a little lonely. Let's introduce a pet into the picture using our third and final mutator, the duck inserter. This mutator fetches a random duck image from an external service and superimposes it onto our image. And there we have it. Our guy not only has a vibrant hairdo and a shape-shifting beard, but also a cute little companion to keep him company. Through this exercise, we've explored 3 different mutators and 2 external mutation data sources, time and a random API. Your dApp can leverage similar tools or even introduce completely different ones. With that, we've reached the end of our demo session. Remember, the world of dynamic NFTs is vast and full of possibilities. Don't be afraid to experiment and create something truly unique. Happy coding!